I'm not sure which one it's doing. It's not April 12th. There we go. Let's change that to the proper date. It's April 26th. And it is 7:01. We are a minute late today. Yeah. We are a minute late. And today we have Brian sitting in the hot seat. We're in studio and we have the audacity to say we're doing it. Acting up. Let me bring the music down. How are you all doing today? How are you all doing on the interwebs? If you're just joining us, it's 7 o'clock on Friday. Brian and I are just going to be going through the Seven Talents Twitter feed today and having just raw discussions as we figure out what it is we are going to be doing over the next week, because both of us are not going to be here to do this live. Isn't that fair?
Busy season in the field.
Sure.
Editing back station. One problem. So, yeah, the month of May ends up being pretty much every day we have the house.
And if,
we get back into the summer, we'll have some more consistent Fridays again.
And it looks like it's like kind of stalling on me right now. I'm not even sure if I can pull this thing back into, since you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to kill the OBS because our teleprompter cabling didn't seem to be helping us out, and I'm wondering if, because it's been begging for updates, if that's been an issue. But we've had an interesting week. I've had an interesting week. Not one that I have, not one I could have predicted. Let's put it that way. But I'll tell you what, I've had probably the most productive past 48 hours I have ever had, and had some pretty strange epiphanies, Brian, about kind of the strategy of Rumble Video, kind of whether or not reporting on anything outside of Rumble makes sense. I think we have to be holistic in our approach. I think we're always going to be multi-stream experts, but the writing is definitely on the wall.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
We were looking at the various options that are out there.
Yeah.
And in at least my understanding as our discussion is it can be kind of broken down into two options. The pay for the software as a service option, or the free software as a service option.
Exactly.
And there are two out there that are basically giving it away for free that are kind of there, but then there are also the ones that you can pay for where you're starting to see the elements of them in the broadcast where we're using this software based on look, there's that lower third. You're starting to see some things that come up across multiple users across the interwebs that you're starting to see the teams people are on. And I think you were telling me about how Rumble Studio is now in that free camp where they're kind of offering. They're essentially. Thinking about corporate bottom lines, but from a free speech point of view.
Oh man, well, and I think that's not even.
We're trying to build software that makes you more capable of being able to do that.
That's not even the half of it. I think that, man, we got a low frame rate. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. It might be a local recording that is botching me at the moment. I don't know if I can.
Cat's
Whoa.
yucking it up over here too.
What are you doing, cat?
I thought you brought the duster in as a toy.
You are. And
My cat at home. Shout out Nick Dyson, my mother of dreams and destroyer of worlds.
yeah,
That is her full title. I don't
is
believe
it?
in just naming a cat. I think cats should be like former royalty. They get full titles.
Mm.
And she has a habit of she almost knows when the red light goes on and recording has begun because she almost has to make a dramatic entrance to anything that I do, whether it's working behind the scenes with you on a live stream or.
Well, so some of the epiphanies that I think that I was having, I wanted to kind of share with you, were that uh, I think I'm starting to understand strategy. I'm starting to see, man, it is just dog and bad, and it's really distracting the hell out of me. Um, the strategy that Rumble has currently, and I made a post to this effect before we jump into the news. Let's see if I can find my own. Yeah, absolutely, man. I think what. Yes, yes. Structured shows are fun. Actually, they're not fun. Let's be honest. Can we just
No, I mean
structured shows have a place. I think is what I really mean to say.
they do, but they're the old guard of media. We covered
Well,
it today in our conversation too. This idea that the old guard of media wanted you to tune in at a certain time. They wanted you to wear your suit. They wanted you to look a certain way. They wanted you to say a certain thing. And what the internet provided was alternative media that didn't necessarily fit that same structure. And we found that a lot of audience really appreciated and wanted to have that available to them. Then.
actually, you know what I'm thinking? What's happening is I've got dual ingest happening simultaneously on the same GPU, and the computer's like, no, no, that's where I draw the line.
Computers just not having it there.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm doing something different because I wanted both DSLRs going into the system today. Because
So behind the scenes weeds, rather than using a standard webcam to get the shot of this beautiful mug, we went full on Panasonic 4K Lumix
yes,
connected through
it's old school.
cables, which we were discussing. HDMI is definitely an entertainment system cable.
Oh, it's home entertainment. Home, not even business entertainment.
Secure SDI cable, which is the standard American cable with its British naval connections, those BNCs to avoid.
Thank you for saying that acronym one more time for us all, because that's the thing that blows my mind is.
We're just sitting here. We're trying to set up HD cameras, and instead of having just his HD camera, and then me having to connect to my webcam, which would be our typical show together, I decided to come out and join him in studio.
I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna plug in the nice stuff.
We say, yeah, we're gonna plug in all the nice stuff, but you got cables and you got signals and there's electricity involved. And
There's yeah. Tesla was trying to tell us about this stuff earlier.
We got this all figured out. In fact, this sometimes we were also discussing how overwhelming it is at times that we have so much technology available to us. It's kind of fun to do a studio rebuild.
Well, the truth of the matter is
how many of you would tune in for a 12-hour studio rebuild?
Oh well, I would live stream the whole thing. Yeah. The crazy thing about this right now, I've got a single camera. I don't know why the ATEM keeps jacking up on me, which that's gonna if I unplug this, that's gonna bork a lot, but it's gonna have to be unplugged, I think. Yep. I woke up to it yesterday. Yeah, because that feeds all the external monitors. Yeah, so it still streams. It's just that that's the beauty of software as a service. It doesn't matter if I said, you know what, I got to reboot this computer. There's just no other way around it. The stream would stay up. And that's who was it I was talking to that was qualifying or calling that third tier. Third tier. Man, I got to find that document and work that up. But there is an understanding can I get to it? Cut. That man, it is just choppy as hell. I may have to restart my browser.
That's my fault.
Nope, it's not yours. It's mine.
No, I released a video making fun of they. Now they are watching it.
They. Yeah, so Brian released his second Church of Cinema podcast, and they.
It's kind of a movie review thing. It's becoming a movie view review where I look at movies I've seen in my past and then compare.
Wow, refreshed the browser and everything came back. So that's the beauty. It's not perfect, and it's still really it's about having redundancies. Anything that you do in professional production always has redundancies built in, and one of the things that cloud-based services, cloud-based software has provided to the average mortal. Man, my Stream Deck is locked up. Hold on, Task Manager.
Seeing from my point of view, I got monitors left and right. All these black mirrors flashing in and out of consciousness, switching up what they got on. We were supposed to talk about the Twitter feed, but we're just having more fun with the behind the scenes.
Oh God. Well, and my CPU is pegged at 100%. I may be hitting end of life. You know what? That just fixed it. I think that just fixed it. I think everything's back. I had an errant process.
Remember when we first started with non-linear editing and you'd be working on one of the earliest Final Cuts?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You would apply a text layer and then you would have to render just that section. And
oh my God.
Take like 15 minutes for that render to process.
We're doing this live.
Just to see if the text went on screen just right.
Yeah.
And now we can just, we are so spoiled for choices.
But I'll tell you what. I think that's the interesting point here is we are living in a second revolution for digital media.
You've called it Internet 3.0.
Internet 3.0.
That's common parlance yet, but it does feel like.
Yeah, because we've all said Web 2.0, right?
Yeah,
we're used to,
Web 2.0.
And so my question is, if this is Web 2.0, what is Web 1.0?
If Web 1.0 was the initial web, was the establishment of an interweb of computers hooked up to monitors that were capable of sending words and images on screen.
Right. It was mainly hypertext markup language.
Building basic websites for selling items, right? 2.0 became about engagement and data gathering.
Well, not yet. I say I call it almost 2.5 when we get into data gathering because metadata.
To simplify, I think it was engagement. The fact that you no longer had to just go to a website for a thing. You went to a website because you found a blogger that writes that you can now like and share. I'll never forget when I first transitioned out of the film world into the television world, into this internet world. I had to take out books from the library. And read this. I had to walk to my local library to take out a physical paper-bound book that explains what the fuck a hashtag does on a keyboard.
Fair.
I had to read a book about sharing.
Read a book.
Hashtag. Read a book. Read a book.
Read a motherfucking book. We need that as a clip.
That would be a fun little cutaway. But that's what I do as an editor.
Right.
What I do as an editor when we do these live moments together where we just run it off the cuff. I end up taking the footage.
Oh, I'm downloading that right now. I'm going to load it into the media library of.
What I'm saying is that I started off in such a way that I had to read a book from the library to understand hashtags. And it was through that trauma that I still haven't gotten that.
Trauma. I like how you described it as trauma. It's through that trauma. I had to get up. I had to go outside. I had to walk.
The weather was perfect, and there was this beautiful forest path I used to go on, which was great for meditation and prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like I said, there's at one point, we were reading books about what to do, and I think that was 2.0 in general. Going back to the idea of the topic is what made it 2.0 was the fact that it no longer was just a place to find things on the internet. You now had to interact, and you could create your own space. Whereas before, I think what definitely made the Web one was the fact that you had to hire someone to make a website. Whereas by the end of Web 2.0, you can make your own website.
Man, it's brilliant.
And the tools have become much more available to you. And that's why I say that we are now, and you mentioned it before, is I think we are now in that transitionary stage where we went from 2 to 3.
Right.
What does 3 have at the end? And I think it's I don't know. It always feels like it's this never-ending battle between the free folk of Middle Earth against the corporate Sauron legion of orcs and metal men with their machine knives and their machine arms.
Yeah, well, so man, you go into all these spaces, and I feel like I haven't had enough edibles. No, I want to follow in. It's like we literally should sit down sometime and hash out the history. And I've been trying to do this with another friend of mine, another business colleague of mine. And because there's so much relevant history between 2008, 2009, and now. That's the gap of time we're talking about. Because in 2008, we were still hand coding sites. I was not using content management systems. I was using Dreamweaver, or I was using Front Page, or I was using Hot Dog because I didn't want to code anything. But
you were on maybe the first or second update of Final Cut Pro.
Oh my god! Well, Final Cut had just come out at that time. Nonlinear editors had come down from the gods, like Prometheus had brought down this. Apple. Steve Jobs was Prometheus. He had brought the Hollywood access level tools and given them to the common man, and it was like literally like the scene from 2001 with the big black obelisk sitting. We're like, ooh, 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 ooh.
I found out eventually through the grapevine they wanted to make it into a pyramid for the movie.
Really?
They decided to do the obelisk because it just was the easiest to produce.
It wasn't even an obelisk; it was just a slab.
It was a slab. They said it was literally the easiest to produce, and it sort of morphed into a greater meaning over time. But it was literally just a, production designer decision of like, what it is.
Last minute.
It's not just last minute. It's simple in a way that it's like, okay, nature doesn't draw in straight lines.
So we're at an intersection now.
Yes.
You and I, that we recognize. It echoes 2009. It echoes 2010.
Correct, because we were there for the first transition where what we saw was sort of that.
And I didn't realize this. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Geek was sitting right where you were less than a week ago. And I had this epiphany moment, and I haven't been able to, because I recorded so long. Opus has a limit of being able to upload.
Which,
I think what
for our conversation so far, so we're going to get to later.
We will get to Opus. We're going to come back to Opus and talk about it for a second. But I was using Descript to make shorts. I was auditioning Descript because I'd read somewhere that you can say, hey, go through this script, find out my high points, which I was doing anyway with GPT-4, because who wants to sit through a 5-hour thing after you've sat through a 5-hour thing and pick out your best clips? That's the grunt work, and it's hard. And I don't have interns, but I have GPT.
I understand that because, as you see, we commented on the Church of Cinema. Those things I do where I record one day and then I put it on the shelf and I don't look at myself for a week.
Yeah.
I believe I put myself on camera. There's things that sit in the archive that I'm just like, I can't believe.
See, this is the easy part. This is the fun part.
So many times when you're done producing the content as a camera.
Yeah.
But I don't want to sit down and edit it. That's the last thing I want to do. I'm still sitting on an episode, just sitting in the camera.
Dude, I have hard drives that are all full because I've got work that I have shot that I haven't edited. And that's the tragedy of video production. Either you are a fantastic editor or you hate it. There is no middle ground. There's no middle ground. Do you know anyone that's kind of like a eh?
It's a tedious process.
It is.
My first introduction to editing.
It's joyful.
I remember, well, for me, my first introduction to editing was joyful, and there was a certain magic because I had film in my hands.
Right.
I would take two strips
I made
of film
this.
and have to tape them back together, and then it became something.
Yeah.
It meant something, right?
Right.
Then I learned that they moved all the tools to a digital source and said, okay, but I never had that. Oh, I just made a thing.
Yeah.
For almost the first 15 years the software was out there. And then, a couple of years ago, I'm like, all right, I have an editor, I have a software, and I just start going on, a creator binge, if you will.
Yeah.
As an artist, having all this available to me that, necessarily, wasn't there in the earliest stages of Web 2. Where, back when you were describing that 2008 period, we didn't have the ability to interface these quality of cameras into a computer, let alone
oh my god, no,
do that. Yeah, it was just the amount of processing it took to do that just didn't exist or took forever to go off. So.
Well, and so
you had an epiphany though.
I had this epiphany where Geek was sitting here and he's talking about. I'm like, well, it's kind of like I was trying to relate to him. I'm like, it's kind of like when you used to work with there's a feature set that I was trying to explain to him about clipping or about because Twitch has that ability for you to grab clips in the back end, which is brilliant. And I think a lot of the developers at Rumble are working harder to replace Twitch than they are to replace YouTube. And I think that's a proper methodology. And here's why I believe in that now more than ever. And I'll get to that in this. Let me put a pin in that. Geek and I are having a conversation, and I keep like trying to don't you remember how this used to be like this and that used to be? And he's like, no, I have no clue what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, and then I start paying attention to every creator I've been on with. Daramuth, I'll name some out there. I don't sophomore John, I don't know what he does specifically before he got into doing this, but I would say more than 3/4 of people that are currently using Rumble, this is their first time streaming anywhere on any platform with any tools.
Yeah.
So their expectations aren't anywhere where mine are.
Sure, you and I have sat in the room where we have lights all around us, heavy duty lights. We have multiple camera operators.
They've seen Twitch streamers. They've seen YouTubers.
Sure, they see the through the lens version of it, but they've never seen the behind the scenes.
And not just that, but they've never seen that. A, this has been done successfully without concern for censorship. No one, when YouTube came out, we all thought we really believed the "Do No Evil" slogan. We all believed that. When they said that, we went, awesome. This is amazing. I mean, that was the biggest lie ever told on the internet, because people like me wanted to believe that like this Star Trek level of brilliance existed in Silicon Valley. I was a part of it. We all wanted to be the next Steve Jobs, and we all thought that Steve Jobs was going to save the world, and we all had this utopian mindset that maybe there are good people out there making big philanthropistic like moves out there, and really at the end of the day they ended up just handing the keys over to the 3-letter agencies. They just handed them over. If they weren't built by them, they handed them over.
Oh, there's creators out there who have talked about it and basically said Silicon Valley got in bed with them because they said, we want your data and we're going to pay for it, and if you don't give us your data, we're going to make your life hell for it.
So that's the battle. That's the battle that's happening right now, is that, yes, it's been proven it can be done. So if we have to rebuild it, which is where we're at, I think that's where Chris is at. If we have to rebuild it, let's build it the right way. Let's build it from scratch. Let's not take someone else's shit and cobble it together. Although I'm not saying that about Colin. I mean, trust me. And I've even suggested that, like, Chris, like, look into EV Mux and see if they're Not that I have any say or any sway or anything, but I mean, there's always purchases. And I don't know how solvent Rumble is, and I'm not looking for a Daddy Warbucks solution. I'd much rather they learned and build it from scratch. But to have someone say, "You look, here's where we think it's going to go next," and we don't have to do exactly everything that was in the past, but we do, but we do have to meet a certain level of expectation that creators have become comfortable with. There is a standard that is set. And so you have to meet that standard and then exceed it. I don't think you can come out of the gate exceeding it. That just doesn't happen. Especially with software as a service, it changes the entire development model. This is not Microsoft Word that you bought in a box at Best Buy and you installed it on your PC. This shit is you sign up on a website, and when the updates are out, everybody gets them. And if you did something wrong, everybody bitches.
Well, don't forget, Web 3.0 is also going to be generated by the user base.
Yeah.
What are people consuming and how are they getting it? And I think we have the ability to use VPNs and we have the ability to, block out direction of our traffic and do things. But at the same time, it really just matters upon the trends of the audience and what they're actually viewing for. And the thing about media audiences is they're incredibly fickle. In the amount of time, you know, in a very short amount of time historically.
Oh my God.
How much money has been both generated and completely disappeared.
Exactly.
Through the technology of the past just 30 years. Just go back 30 years, 1990.
Yeah.
We're still using cassette tapes. We're introducing CDs. We're introducing DVDs. People are going to the cinema to see their movies. They're paying for cable if they want extra TV.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the internet's, and they're like, okay, well, the content's not on the internet, but very slowly everything started to morph. And you have, just disparate views too. You've created your own little echo chamber to find the type of content you want. And you have a world full of people who want short, little, fluffy videos. You want people who like this long form conversational content. And then there are people who just like the sound of someone's voice and want to hear them narrate the video game.
Or they're looking for insights. I mean, we don't talk about the ability to sit down and listen to someone's thought and go, "Oh my gosh, I finally found somebody who resonates with." Yeah, I mean that's what originally got me interested in Ron Paul. Is when you heard a voice in the wilderness, so to speak, that basically echoed your own thoughts. You're like, how do I get closer to that? And so the question is when you have access to the internet and you have the ability to put your voice out there without the chilling effect of worrying about what that means, without saying, well, if I say this, I'm going to get canceled, or if I say this, I'm going to get shadow banned, or I mean, nobody really wants to hear me. Everybody has an audience. Everybody has an audience.
It's scary though to think about what Web3 could represent when you hear stories of the social media construct. When you see sci-fi media like Black Mirror looking ahead at a world where your
and that's
rating is
based off of Chinese communist Marxist ideologies.
I'm aware of that, but what I'm saying is that what have these powerful people been looking to do all the time?
And I would say they've succeeded. I would say that it's done. It's a complete system, and we are basically saying we're by using X, and unfortunately X isn't completely free. There are still tentacles of the octopus still wrapped around the code into X that are slowly being cut away as they're being found. Hopefully, I want to hope that we can trust Elon. I think that Elon is doing the right thing. I think he bought basically a crime scene and is slowly peeling back one layer at a time to find out exactly where all the receipts are. Because when you buy a company, you buy its history.
Sure.
So but with Rumble, what we're dealing with is a completely built from scratch solution that is based on the principles that we all already commonly agree upon about free speech and about our, I mean, it was said yesterday, Chris Pavlovsky was talking, I forget, what's his name? Was it Mike? Kim? I can't remember which. I'm going to have to find someone to apologize right now. But
spell Mike without Kim.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. But no, he's saying to him that right. He's saying to him that we're a U.S. based company, and that we have to make things right within our own boundaries, within our laws, within our own country, before we can be something to the rest of the world. We have to be it to ourselves here, I think, was the summary of what he was trying to express. And in doing that, in saying this is a company based off of the principles that we find in our founding documents, in our Constitution, protected by our Bill of Rights. Who else is even thinking down those lines when they come to technology? I mean, that's an afterthought. That's been an afterthought of Silicon Valley from day one. Like, how do we protect people's privacy rights, rights to speech? When three-letter agencies come knocking, are you gonna say, where's your warrant? Or are you gonna say, come right in? Here's everything we got, and then some. Here's all their friend shit too. Um, that kind of that that kind of character is rare in the technology world. And we are thrilled that Rumble is doing that and taking that stand, and we stand with them. But it's bigger than just a principled issue. I see a strategy being deployed. And here's the post that I had put up earlier that I just wanted to kind of share this strategy before we get into a little bit about Opus and get a little bit about the news that happened the past week. I do. I have to go pick up my wife. I made this post that's streaming. Oh, by the way, a little thing I've learned is that if you like your own posts, it highlights it in things that you've liked with the people you follow. It's not it's not like, oh, he's definitely drinking his own Kool-Aid. That actually highlights that in all of your friends' feeds when you do that to your own post. Little Twitter hack I've learned. I've saw people do this and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. Anyway, haven't done that until just now. In the grand scheme of things, I was sitting in a YouTube streaming 101 class that they're offering to newbies. And it's very apparent that they are very much about, you make your things and then you upload it. They don't think streaming first. In my opinion, streaming is more powerful than uploading. Uploading is more powerful, I think, when you want to craft a message, but when the goal is authenticity, you're gonna get something authentic versus something edited. And this is why Rumble is going to be the future of what I believe content creation is. People want authentic. People crave an authentic message over anything else.
Yes, that's what drew people away from the ivory tower media into the internet.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
The ivory tower media figured that out, and then they joined us on the internet and crowded the pool so much that you can't even have a good swim anymore.
Right. Well, and then they kept telling, there's more lifeguards than there are people swimming at this point. Like, you're out of the pool, you're out of the pool. It isn't really the public square that we originally experienced. And there are some other things that I have that I'm going to be working on and developing that will bring, I believe, our audiences into a safe haven. And at the end of the day, it's about every single user out there, every single creator out there having control of their own audience, because the audience is the key. That's the threat. There's when you talk about streaming and you talk about YouTubers and you talk about content creators, what's the incentive? I mean, the incentive is AdSense, right? We're going to give you X amount of dollars because advertisers. Oh, you're monetized after you've worked your ass off to get to the requirements so that you can monetize. Which, by the way, during that entire time, they're still running ads on your shit. Yeah. Well, when you get good enough, then we're going to give you a piece of the pie. You should be giving me a piece of the pie from day one. And by the way, those who are making millions of dollars on YouTube, they're getting a fraction of the action. They're not getting crap. It's just, people don't have any real perception of how big the monetary pie really is. It's not something to hoard. There's plenty of work out there for all of us to have made a living. If you are comfortable in front of a camera, you can make a living being yourself, because there is an audience for every type of person out there. because it's not about the advertisers.
Yeah, and I think where we're going to go in the future is also just that I think the powers that be don't want to continue to feed that method of you could be a star, you could be a star, everyone could be a star.
It's not about a star. You know what it is? It's about finding your tribe.
Yeah, but they don't want that. They want us separated. They
They
want
do.
us working our shit jobs.
Yeah.
They want us okay. That, like I said, I had an epiphany. You want to talk about epiphany the other day? I had an epiphany the other day that I'm never gonna retire, and that I'm gonna drop dead checking out groceries at a grocery store I don't fucking work at.
No, you won't.
That's my future.
That is a concern.
I'm never going to be able to retire, and I'm going to die doing someone else's job because the
Well,
corporation.
the grocery store already has you working for them with self checkout.
That's what I mean. That's just sad. It's like that's the future we're already in. It's like I don't even want it.
Yeah. Well,
I see where you're going there in that sense, and I think that's what someone like Joe Rogan took great advantage of, was saying, hey, we're going to have long form conversations. And guess what? People are going to be drawn into these long form conversations.
Yeah.
But what happens when you talk too freely and too openly? Even he had to say, look, I'm not trying to put out disinformation. I'm just trying to have an honest conversation.
He had to he had to circumnavigate their efforts to deplatform him.
Every chance they could to get rid of that guy because he was speaking too freely.
Right.
And that's the number one thing. We talked about this in that one podcast we did together, was that they're terrified of actual free speech. Because when the people get together and realize, hey, wait, you're getting fucked as bad as I am. George Carlin wasn't making a joke. That's what they do to you?
Right.
Damn.
Right.
A lot more people, are willing to be like, all right, maybe I do need to do something against, a tyrannical government that has its claws in everything.
Yeah.
But most people are just pacified to shut up and do their job.
Well, here is, I'm going to get to one of the first news things here before I jump off my own, because I was looking for more of an extension on this conversation. But as a quick update, Doge Designer posted, he's one of the developers, I think, at X. I believe that's accurate. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But X is working on making DMs or direct messages, which have always had, and I have said this, always had the feeling of being like mail. It was much more, here's a telegram, it's a one-time thing. You don't do it for you to send 3 or 4 DMs back to back is not the nature of DMs. It felt like the telegraph. It was a very special thing to send someone a DM, and it was a one time. You would DM someone less than you would email them. You know what I mean? It's like, well, if I really want to reach out, I'll DM them on Twitter. But I think that if they're going to take over the slot, if they're going to do to MySpace, or they're going to do to Facebook what Facebook did to MySpace, they have to take over the primary usage toolkits that Facebook currently fills. They are the messaging platform for most of the United States. When you talk about instant messaging, Facebook Messenger killed AOL Instant Messenger. It killed ICQ. It killed all of these different, Jabber. All of them kind of went to the wayside because, well, shit, if I want to message someone, if I just want to chat with them, I don't want to have to go to IRC. Just catch them on the platform that we all have in common, which is Messenger. Well, if you want to get people to migrate from Facebook to Twitter, DMs are not this. They don't have the same usage model. And I noticed that it really circled around the fact that they have this email icon that kind of changes your mindset on it. And here they're saying, we're working on making DMs competitive with WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram. All of those are messaging applications. Notice the icon shows the here comes the incoming text icon. I had said in their comments on this, ironically, I had said, oh, snap, because I had noticed it real time because it happened while I was talking with Vapin Gamers. Shout out to Vapin. He's currently over on Lumpy's Creator Roundtable, which I'll be watching while I drive down to pick up my wife after this broadcast is over. But I said, X is doing what I've been waiting for, transitioning the direct message user interface to start shifting from a email mentality to a messaging mentality. Thank you. Right, because that was the first time I saw that happen right there, and It was kind of bugging me that he had 41,000 views and I had 8, and I had identified it before they had announced it. A little salt in that post, but uh, it's a big deal to see this actually happening. I had made suggestions. I believe I don't even know if this is in there. I'd have to find it, but I had said that this icon here needs to be switched over to the messaging icon and not the mail icon, and that'll communicate to people that that's the next natural progression. So not exactly video streaming news, but free speech platform news is more of what it is. And right now, X as a free speech platform, Rumble is a free speech platform. We need new land to move to from these. We are currently digital exiles. We are the digital refugees from tyranny. And this land that we're walking across the border into has to have the same things we're accustomed to where we came from, and X is starting to provide that. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But if we get into Seven Talents, get into our Twitter account, let's take a look at our profile. So the news that's literally at the top of our list, outside of us talking in my big mug, Rick has been doing updates right now on how we handle subscriptions and emails and notifications. That's coming. New UI changes in the background. What else was the latest post that he had thrown out there? If you really want to know what's going on, you need to do a follow to Rick RIC underscore RAC. This is the man to follow right here if you want to know everything that's happening. Half the time that I'm posting anything about what we know, it's coming from the head of product development for Rumble. He's an amazing guy. He's done just literally a superhero level effort in wrangling all of our concerns and keeping a cool head while we're constantly ringing the customer service bell. It's astonishing how well he's put up with us, while he's literally helping us transition this antiquated interface that I'm sure he inherited into what we all know it can be. So that's coming. Looks like iOS version of the Rumble app is also on its way out. I was complaining earlier, or not complaining, made a discovery that it was much easier to use Rumble on Safari on my iPhone than it was to use the Rumble app. So hopefully this release starts to fix that, starts to move us closer to the native app is better than the web experience. But I'll tell you what, there's a strategy there. This is something I want to just highlight. The beautiful thing about iOS working so well via Safari, or Rumble working so well via a mobile browser, whether it be Brave on an Android device or a tablet or whatever, is that anytime you're on Twitter or you're on another app and they want to link you over, they're going to do it in a browser style interface. And if you never leave that, you want to have the same quality of experience happen in a browser in an HTML subset as you would get in the app. So the app and the browser app will hit feature parity eventually. So them keeping up with themselves on their web version. So it's really always going to be web first. And if people don't understand that, well, why is it that the iOS app sucks and the Android app is better than this app, and it's better on Apple TV than it is on the LG or it is on the Roku? It's web first. Web first for now.
I mean, you two pointed out in one of the shows that I did while you were in Florida was television streaming is becoming the new way YouTube is being streamed.
Yep.
It's just the way the audience has moved to it. So it's only a matter of time before, if you're not on a smart TV, you're also not part of the game.
Right.
Where I guess you could say the first world audiences are consuming the media.
Well, and like I said, I think if they're really smart, they'll make sure that of all of the TV apps, that Roku is the one that gets their best of breed, because that's going to be the one that's on all of your rental properties. It's on your Airbnbs. Everybody just gets a Roku device because it has a guest mode on it. This is something that I had said to uh, uh, that I had said to Siraj when we were visiting in Florida. I'm like, this is the one thing, if you can take this to the top, and I'm putting it out there in the internet for everybody to have this. Rumble, please take this information and run with it. The most important thing that they can do. Oh, Miss BCG says hi, guys. Hey. The most important thing that they can do is, yeah, ooh, rabbit. Um, is make sure that the Roku is a good ambassador for people's first experiences, because it's just, anyway. Let's read some of the notes here on 2.8.37 iOS app. Search auto suggestions so that you can more easily discover your creator category, which, by the way, the search has been awesome lately. Improvement to followed channels screen, ordering by channels that are live. More sorting options are coming soon. They want to be able to sort alphabetically. They want to be able to sort by viewers. There's a lot of things coming down the road that he's been talking about in other posts. The UI improvement across the app, yeah, it's been kind of sloppy in the UI as far as space usage. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that tightened up. Live stream duration added to stream, so you can see how long the stream has been happening on iOS, which is great. Same thing that, like I said, some of these things that you get in the Safari version, you don't get in the app. So it's getting there. They're moving things over into the app. So that is that post. Hunting for our next post here.
One you showed me today. We teased it earlier in the show. We were talking about the way people consume media now, and you were showing a very nice, and you even referenced it, about how editing is the bane of your existence, and how being able to dump something from a live stream into a software to click.
Oh, Opus.
Yeah.
Opus, nice.
Opus.
Yeah. Let's. I'm going to show you. I,
Especially the type of audience.
I'm a latecomer to Opus.
Creation, but also recognizes that a lot of content people, they want that vertical hold of their phone. They want their horizontal. Oh, it's so ugly to me. I still can't. I
can't stand vertical video. It was the
It's not bad. I'm trying to shoot.
Was it Glove and Boots that talked about the vertical screens, and we're gonna have to reformat? I may have to find the Glove and Boots and pull that up.
But the truth is that this is just the way, people don't consume media the same way we might think they do. I put an episode of Church the Cinema talking about a movie that I liked. Well, the movie is a 2-hour commitment. The episode is a 20-minute commitment. I don't know how math works. It's like, what, a tenth of the time?
Right.
Or something along those lines. It's like, not everyone wants to consume long-form, horizontal, cinematic viewing, even though that's the way our eyes are normally used to seeing. They just want to have a 1 minute to 30-second video or less flash in front of their screen so they can flip on to the next one. It's the next stage of doom scrolling.
Right. Well, and I'll tell you what, if you want to stop the scroll, you want to do video, and the more that they're breaking into this space, the more they're going to be helping brands and companies actually break that mold by bringing authenticity in.
Like I said, this new thing took everything that I said, my 20 minutes worth of yakety sax.
Well, real quick,
it into an actual clickbaity title.
Well, no, it's awesome. It is very awesome. And then we get to talk about your stuff too. So we'll it does. It's fantastic. And it's being actively created. I've already seen 2 updates since I've become a paid subscriber of their service. And it is worth paying for. I've been using it pretty actively for client stuff, and I'll be using it for my own stuff moving forward. But it looks like they did revise the gaming UI. They're giving us the ability to see 6 where we're only able to see 2.5, maybe 3, 4, not even full of 4 because we're only seeing the half. So a lot of updates are still coming. I'm stoked. Let me switch over. I'm gonna grab Opus real quick and show you what that looks like. But so a friend of mine asked, I think it was Veramuth was asking, or Daramuth. Thank you, Daramuth, was asking if I had checked out Opus, and I had not seen it. It was not something that was common in my world, but like I said, I have been looking for the right way to make.
It's an editor hack. It's definitely a hack that is quite useful for producing short form content out of long form content, and producing it in such a way that it's sort of a net to catch people into the longer form content.
Yeah. So this is what Opus looks like. It's let me move this up here to where we normally share it, and put it full screen. Makes life better. And I will move us out of the way, like so. We're not normally there, so shunk. So yeah, Opus is actually a kind of a crazy good piece of software that I don't know how else to put other than it is something I was looking to get interns to help me with, and I don't have to do that now. I just have to have interns that know how to use this software. Basically, all you have to do is pop in a URL here or upload a file, and literally within like 20 minutes, you have AI go through the entire thing, transcribe it, analyze that transcription, using, I'm sure, much smarter GPT-4 level kind of AI, finding what the real hook pieces are, edits together a quick vertical video, or it doesn't have to be vertical. It can do standard logins as well. Here's our dashboard. I'll show you some of the projects we have done. But here's we you dropped this yesterday. I posted this before we went to lunch today. Church of Cinema episode number 2, The Game, and it cranked out. It not only tells you what you get, uh, as far as a clip, showing you the clip,
Nicholas, I have another call.
but it tells you what the hook is, what the flow is, engagement, and trend. And then you can change the title based on whether you want it as a question, serious, catchy, interesting, unless you absolutely love that. And I've accidentally changed one that you loved. I'm sorry about that, Brian.
I didn't love it, but there was something about it that had that clickbait quality.
Yeah, it's trying to design a viral clip.
Towards what I was trying to say about this movie.
And
it's because what I was trying to say in my version of the movie was like, hey, I have an interpretation of this movie that I bet you didn't have. And after you hear my interpretation, you might actually agree or want to, engage
right.
based off of that.
Right.
But it was funny that it was one of the clips that they pulled out was they sort of they sort of looked into what everything I had said and pulled out from it a very precise point I was trying to make.
They found the chewy caramel center of what you were saying, and that really, being an editor, and we talked about this. You're an editor, I'm an editor. We're not the greatest and fastest at it, but we know what's required of and what we would ask for from one. And this does an excellent job.
Well, and for example, we did a podcast once, you and I, just sitting here in the basement when we were testing the system. And you did 12 hours worth of content, and I was able to pull out maybe like 20 minutes worth of us talking. We called it our Power 20 or whatever, right?
Right.
I edited it into 4 separate episodes, and that was probably like a day's worth of effort. Whereas this probably could have spit out the exact same content, maybe even better.
The one caveat that
text on screen that I didn't even bother doing, because I'm not going to go. You know how much work it takes to text on screen?
Well, plugins can do it. There's a lot of things it's doing in it's a multi-step saver. But the real thing that this does, that it does it with certain caveats. There are certain things that it doesn't do, and that is it doesn't do anything over 3 hours. And so if you plan to use this, and we highly suggest, we want you guys to go out there and check out Opus Clip. We think it's a fantastic tool. Highly suggest that you check it out. But take note, if you're going to record content for that purpose, it has to be under 3 hours. Just keep it at 2, probably. I don't know if they're going to lift that limitation. They don't automatically link back to the video that you uploaded in the description, which I think would be a nice add. I've already made a suggestion to them on that. If they do that, we'll have a testimony right here because of this suggestion. I've already put it in their Discord. I've reached out to them in their Discord. They're very responsive. They're very aggressive. And let's be really honest. I'm going to tell you the most impressive thing about Opus is this. If you go to Opus Clip, we didn't even get to the fun stuff, which is the calendar thing. Is that when you click here to drop a link, it says drop a Rumble link. They see Rumble as a first-class citizen. I am so tired of web apps looking at Rumble as, well, unless it's a YouTube or it's Twitch, we're really not interested in helping you out. Oh, a Zoom thing? Yeah, we can do that. Oh, Vimeo? Sure. Rumble? What the fuck is that? Like, you're speaking another language. And that's not. So the fact that they see us, they see the value of us, they got my business just for treating us as a first class citizen. That was on the front end. Then once you have all that, I mean, this is starting to take over a lot of things. You can have scheduling. You can literally say, you know what, on May 1st, we need to make a clip from this video here. And you can pick which clip was made, pop it in, decide how you want it. Yeah, that's the one. Select the clip, and now you can say where you want to send it to. I want to send it to the Seven Talents Facebook page. Schedule it for, let's say, 7. That would be my phone somewhere. I don't even know where it's at. Mute your phones before you start, guys. Lesson learned. let's say 7:28 a.m. That's when I want that scheduled. Bam, it's scheduled to go live. I don't know if you can delete it now, but that's going to happen now. But you can plan a month in advance on all these posts, and really, if you're pulling people back to your content, this is an empire builder right here.
It allows. I mean, the AI does a great job at selecting what you said and narrowing down different pieces, but it still gives you full control. It still gives you the option to select portions of your conversation to take off and put on.
And it looks like you
jump around from different parts of the conversation. Choose which part of the image is highlighted if you want it to be looking at a reaction instead of the person talking.
Yeah.
There's editability within it as well. On top of it just being a way to, roster in a bunch of content in the format that a lot of people are using now to discover new content.
Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked about it. And in the meantime, if you haven't, you should check out Brian's latest post that he did have his video. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let's do this. Let's go to the create, and we'll do this live. Cut over here. Let's go to the Church of Cinema, and I'm going to share the best. Which one do you want to post? I'll post it on my Twitter for you. Hold on, let's.
I think the fourth one had one of the actually
Because the one thing it doesn't do, and I'm
secrets of a grumpy pants on his birthday.
Where?
3 grumpy pants. It's because I call him a grumpy pants.
94, 92, unveiling the story of resilience.
Number 4.
5.
Number 5,
maybe. There's the one right there. Let's see.
Because it's at about the 40-minute mark of the movie where the characters actually start referring to a they.
They just fuck you and they fuck you and they fuck you. Then just when you think it's all over, that's when the real fucking starts. All right, calm down. Just take a breath.
Who are they? Who are they? They bring it up a lot in the movie. It is very clearly in reference to a certain 3-letter agency that we may know.
That's viral as hell. Yeah, that's the one I'm going to put up. So the one thing that they don't do, and I'm going to get the Church of Cinema post that you just put up, is they don't put the source video up. Right.
YouTube and Rumble.
That's right.
It was on Rumble. It was on my Rumble page too. I actually put it on the Poop Monkeys Rumble.
So I'm grabbing the link right now. Copy clean link. So this is the thing I want to post. We're going to share it. I'm going to put it right on. I do I have my X? I do have my X. So this is my Twitter account.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's as if we're making an advertisement for longer form content using,
exactly.
Such a useful tool in that sense compared to the old way that, I wasn't going to go back and re-edit that. In fact, I looked at it one more time after I rendered it and was like, yeah, I'm done. If I type something wrong in, that's just how it is the rest of its life.
Yeah. Actually, that's not what I want the short link. And by the way, we need to make you actual tickets, I think, for your show.
My homemade tickets, not doing it, is not cutting it.
I like it. I do. So, what? I didn't hit the letter C.
I do up, and so I of the episode, I tell you that I've sent your next week's ticket or next episode's ticket on a balloon floating to your house right now. Ways to reference the movie. One of the things I'm doing there is I'm having a blast in the editing process of finding usable clips of the movie and then also utilizing the score of the movie in the background. I had so much fun with the game using that suspenseful piece they did to make the story sound a little.
Let's do. I'm going to do IRS as a tag. No, I don't want to do that. Let's do Michael Douglas. Because he's pretty popular right now with Franklin at the moment. All right, so it's published. And you all can check it out on my Twitter page. Let's double check and make sure that's there. And I think that's where we're going to wrap it up today, guys. It's been kind of a interesting little ride today. I really want to do. I think this is more of us finding our voice for how we think inside this organization, how we want to provide solutions from within our experience and make them available. These 15, 16 years of video production on the internet experience, we want to unravel and make accessible for all of you. So thank you for spending an hour with us. Man, we're at 8:02. I got to go get my wife at the train station. I'm really thankful you spent the time with us. Please check us out at 7 Talents, 7talents.com on 7, on Twitter and on Rumble. And we will be back. We're going to keep doing content like this all the time. And I think we're all starting to hit our stride. Check out the Booth Monkeys on YouTube. Links will be below. God bless you all.